So I'm just sitting here going over the next video for the YouTube channel, Comfortably Numb, Pink Floyd solo. Anyway, I just shot a guy an offer for a 2019 professional US Strat for 1,100 Canadian, and it was just a really good deal. It's $150, and you had it less than he had it listed for. And it was still a really good deal at $1,250, which is what he had listed for. Anyway, he texted me right back and said yes. So what I'm gonna do is wait till Chelsea gets home. I have a lesson in 4 minutes. I'll wait till Chelsea gets home and then head over and pick it up. So I thought this would be a good good opportunity just to do a video on how to buy used guitars, or what to look out for when you're buying used guitars off Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or anything like that, because there are a lot of pitfalls you can fall into that we'll talk about. So I'm gonna pick it up here in a bit, and I'll see you there. Yes, I know I trimmed my beard too short. It'll grow back. Got it. It's mint. Really? Come here, look. Got it home. Oh boy. Oh boy. We got 2 free guitar cables too, brand new. Awesome. All right, made it home. Got the guitar. It's way prettier in person than it is probably on camera or even on the pictures. But let me just catch you up from the last guitar gear video I did. I had an HM Strat and a Player Strat, Mexican Player Strat, that I was trying to choose between. So I couldn't decide which one to keep. So I just put both of them up for sale and let the market decide. Player Strat is gone. HM Strat is still here, but it's leaving because I got this. Anyway, this whole scenario, since I've been doing so much shopping and trading and swapping and buying on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, led me to just want to do some tips if you're thinking about getting a used guitar, because there can be a lot of stuff that can go wrong, or you can end up paying too much. So I wanted to give you some of the best things that I've tips that I've discovered over the years, or been taught because I worked at a music store for 5 years. Okay, number one is don't ever, ever, ever pay full price for something that's listed on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. Always ask for a discount. Another way to say this is you don't get 100% of the discounts you don't ask for. And the worst thing somebody can say is no. Number two is look at what that model, whatever model guitar you're looking at, is going for. And the way to do this is on Reverb. Now, I used to do this on eBay back in the day, but Reverb has taken over as kind of the used market standard for guitars. And what I would do is just search whatever model you're looking at. And you under the filters here, you can scroll down and go to sold listings. That'll actually tell you what the last guitars by this model were going for, you know, for whatever the specifics are. And these are going for around 16 or 17, 18, something like that. There's one there here that went for 14. That's probably the cheapest ones. There's a lot that went for a lot higher, but that'll give you a good idea for what you should be shooting for. And on Reverb, you have to deal with fees and stuff too, so don't forget about fees and shipping. If it's something you're picking up locally, you don't have to pay for shipping, and you don't have to pay for any taxes or anything like that. So let that be part of your negotiation too. I'll give you an example for this one. This one was listed at a really good deal. Here in Canada, he was asking for 12.5 for this. And there was a lot of other stuff that not nearly as nice as this that I've been following over the past few weeks. And so I thought $12.50 was good, but again, my number one rule is don't ever pay full price. And you never know what kind of situation you're gonna get into. The guy who was selling this was older and he couldn't play guitar anymore. He had started not too long ago, but his elbow was really just shot, so he couldn't do it. He just wanted money, he wanted to get rid of it. So it worked out in my favor. I didn't feel like I was taking advantage of him, but I did feel like I was getting a really good deal, which is awesome. Okay, number three is when you're asking for a discount or negotiating a price, be courteous. One thing that can turn a person off really quick and just stonewall you on the asking price is if you're kind of, oh, I'd do that for 1,000, or you're like, this is worthless piece of crap guitar, you know, something like that will turn somebody off really quick. But if you're really nice about it, they'll sometimes be more open to meeting you in the middle. So a couple of lines that have worked really good for me are, I'd like to offer you X amount of dollars for this guitar, or I have X amount of dollars if you're willing to let it go for that. Those are just kind of benign and really unoffensive ones. Okay, changing gears a little bit. If it sounds too good to be true, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. It's probably some kind of scam, or something's not on the up and up. I'll give you an example. And this comes into play when you're selling something, but it's still applicable when you're buying something too. If you see like an American-made Strat for $400, something's wrong with it. or somebody's in kind of a shady situation. I've had this happen more than once where somebody offers, goes through the whole negotiation process and they offer, they get down to the wire, agree on a price, and they're like, okay, I'll PayPal you the money. What? It's like, well, I'm out of town. My friend can come pick it up. That is a scam, 100%. Do not do that. And this leads into the next tip. It's cash only, local pickup only. Unless you're going through Reverb or something like that, where you have some restitution if something goes wrong, then keep it cash only, local pickup only, and that will help you avoid a lot of really sticky and potentially scammy situations. Now, of course, we like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but you can also never assume that everyone is on the up and up. So one thing that will really help you kind of suss out the situation as far as the guitar, not only where it comes from, is like, is it a hot guitar? Did it fall off the back of the truck? Or, what's the history of the guitar? Is it got some wicked problem with it or something that you're going to end up regretting buying it? Here's the tip. It's ask a few open-ended questions where people have to kind of tell you the story behind the guitar. It'll get to help you to know them a little bit better and know the history behind the guitar, and it'll give you kind of help you read their vibe too. A couple questions are like, how long have you had the guitar? They have to tell you a story, like, and you'll be able to see if you're asking them in person, right? The look on their face if they're making up a story. Or number two would be something like, well, why are you getting rid of it? Well, I need to pay rent, or I just don't play anymore, or whatever. Like this guy tonight, I talked to him for probably a good 7 or 8 minutes before I, handed him the money. And I found out a little bit about him. It was a nice guy. I won't say his name, but asking questions like that can be really helpful in sussing out the situation and the instrument. Another good question to ask is, has the guitar been repaired at all? Now, working at a music store for 5 years, I had the opportunity. It was a very high volume music store where we bought a lot of used musical instruments, and these questions came in very handy, because if the guitar was hot, we had a lot of people come in with stolen guitars a lot. You'd be surprised how much. But if you ask them those 3 questions, they would get really antsy and end up getting nervous and leaving, or even a more worst case scenario, they would just bolt. All right, next tip is to be patient if you can. I know this is a tough one. I've been looking for something like this. American Standard is what I really wanted. This is an American Professional, which replaced the Standard, but I really wanted something like this. And I could have settled for some other things that weren't as nice, like another Player Strat, or what do they call this, a Player Plus Strat, or just not as nice of a Standard. And I would have ended up paying more money in pretty much all those situations, at least up here in this market. Be patient and watch your local market. So keep an eye, create alerts if you want to for Facebook Marketplace. I'm not sure if you can do that on Craigslist, but just check it periodically, and you'll get a vibe for where the price range you saw on Reverb kind of falls in your local area. And get an idea of how often guitars that you're interested in pop up in your local market. And the story with this guitar, the guy, obviously, like, you start to develop a sixth sense of when somebody just wants the money, as opposed to they don't really care when they sell a guitar that's just up and they don't need the money, right? This guy, as soon as I emailed him, he called me back because I included my phone number. That's another good one. If you're emailing somebody, if you're comfortable with it, leave your phone number, or they have your email address too. They can get right back to you. He emailed me and he called me right back. So I was like, this guy wants to sell this, and I told Chelsea he would have taken less for it. But hey, what can I do? I thought that this guitar was worth 11. Now I just want to show you a few areas of guitars that I look at initially, just to see if things are all cool, like structurally, not even cosmetically. Cosmetically is pretty obvious, scratches, dings, things like that. But on most guitars, but particularly on Strats, the first thing I do is I check the nut height. I just fret the guitar at the 3rd fret, and if it pings on the 1st fret on all 6 strings, then I know the nut's good. It doesn't need to be replaced. It's not too low. It's not worn out. So that's the first thing I do. Then I check the action on both sides. I just fret the 1st fret, and then with your thumb at the body, and then somewhere in the middle, just see how much bounce you get. And it should be relatively the same on the low E and high E. That way you know the neck's not twisted. Now the spot on bolt-on guitars, you want to check the pocket joint right here. Sometimes Strats and Tellys will develop cracks right here, and sometimes it can just be in the paint, but I have seen some in the wood sometimes. So just keep an eye out for that. Another thing you might want to do is just play each fret all the way up and down to see if there are any dead frets, like buzzing frets, like one that just jumps out and has a really bad buzz to it. That's just an indication that the guitar you're playing either needs to have that 1 fret fixed, or it needs a fret leveling, which can be kind of expensive. And often on set neck guitars, Gibsons that have an angled headstock, sometimes you'll see ones that have been repaired right here, so it's good to just run your hand across it, see if there are any inconsistencies, and again, ask the person if the guitar has been repaired or not. On acoustic guitars, it's always good to run your head around the edges, just to see if there are any cracks or anything like that. Okay, finally, if you're new to guitar, or you're just not comfortable or don't have a lot of experience buying used guitars, it never hurts to take somebody else with you, either for safety's sake, because you never know really what you're getting into when you're on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, but also if someone is more experienced with you with guitars, it's great to take them along, just to get their kind of second opinion and suss things out. A really good example of this was I had that 24 fret PRS that I sold, and the guy was obviously a more inexperienced player, more inexperienced guitarist, and his buddy he brought with him over to my house to buy this guitar. He came with him and he had owned like 4 PRSs, so he knew what he was looking at. It's always good to bring a buddy that knows more than you. All right, that is it for my tips for buying used guitars on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. If you want to see a video on tips for selling guitars, used guitars on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know in the comments below what are the best tips that you have for buying used guitars, whether it's online or in music stores in person. I'm sure everyone would appreciate it in the community. Thanks a lot. If you haven't already, go to guitarfam.com and sign up for your complimentary account. You'll get access to the first module of all of our premium courses and access to all of our free courses too there. Bye.